you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Moore
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy here live at the Harry Lemon in Dublin. And if you're in the area right now, you're watching, come on down. We're at Stephen Street Lower here in Dublin. And I'll tell you, Pierre, this place is beautiful.
What a job by
Absolutely beautiful.
Michael and everybody here.
Oh, and
just telling
a certain McGuire
No, Justine
that
did a
helped
good
us
job.
out.
She
Justine
did a good
McGuire really set this up perfectly. We have a nice little cozy, what do you call this, an alcove?
I just think it's nice.
A little nest we
I
have
said
here
I
in
said
the
to you
pub.
before, this place is over 100 years old, and it's probably closer to 200 years old.
It's got to be.
And it is spectacular.
There's stuff
really
hanging
is.
on the walls here that Pierre and I were just observing. It's probably World War I, World War II, something like that. But it's such a great Irish feel. For any of you that ever, too, if you've seen the movie The Commitments, it's a great old Irish movie. I want to say it must have been late 80s, early 90s. I loved it. It's about a band from Dublin. It was filmed here in this pub where we are now. Lots of history here. Pierre and I just touched down. I don't know what, Pierre, about 5 hours ago?
Yeah.
5 hours ago. It's 2 o'clock here in Dublin. I know a lot of you right now are watching us at a different time. It's 9 a.m. back there, so we hope you're enjoying your coffee, sneaking away from the boss, and listening to some great hockey talk. Pierre, I can't believe we're finally here for the Friendship 4.
Oh, I'm just happy to be here because you know what a flight we had over with the guys from BU, Coach Jay
Yep.
Pandolfo and his group, and so many good players.
Very well behaved, I must say.
No, they were awesome.
Very
Cole,
well behaved.
Cole Eiserman on the plane, Cole Hudson on the
Yep.
plane, Shane LaChance, an Edmonton Oilers draft pick on the plane. The other two guys, Eiserman's an Islander, and obviously Cole Hudson's a Washington Capital draft pick. So lots of draft picks, lots of players, great coach, obviously Jay Pandolfo.
Yep.
And we're trying to rustle in a few coaches.
We are. So basically, these guys too, they hit the ground running, but they're off sightseeing right now. But I'm getting word that they might try and come in here after they're done with that, have a few pints or a few too many maybe here at the Harry Lemon. But look, this place, Pierre, I feel like I'm in Ireland because I am in Ireland. You always say that when we're at Hurley's in Montreal or you're at a nice Irish pub in Boston. Oh, this feels like Ireland. I never really knew what that meant because I've never been here, but I am finally here. James Patrick Murphy has touched down in the homeland.
So I'm just going to let you in on a little something. A lady at Custom said to me, "Is that your little leprechaun?" I said, "Yeah,
That's great.
She did. She goes, "Who's your little leprechaun?"
Anyhow, everybody's excited here. There's actually a buzz. I mean, I did talk to some people on the plane that were coming over, whether they were family or fans. Spoke to the good longtime announcer, Bernie Corbett.
Yep.
We're going to have him on with us from Belfast on Wednesday, I believe. Mr. Metcalf will be joining us.
Commissioner of the
Steve
Hockey
Metcalf,
East, yeah.
Commissioner of Hockey East on Thursday. And then we're going to be doing Thanksgiving dinner with him and Robert Fitzpatrick. So
Yeah.
book schedule here. We're here in Dublin until tomorrow morning. Then we trek up to Belfast for the Friendship 4, Merrimack, Harvard, Boston University, and Notre Dame. Here, but before we get into that a little, you saw some amazing college hockey this past weekend, didn't you?
I did. Friday night at BC, by the way, fans there electrified.
Yep.
Seriously.
Did
it's
they do
phenomenal.
that when they all sing along to the Killer song?
Yeah.
They're famous for that now.
Yeah, and they won 3-0 on Friday night,
That was
so they had
yeah.
lots of reasons to be excited. Ryan Leonard's a real deal. Got to be the leading candidate for the Hobie Baker.
Pierre, what did I say to you about him and Perrault? The
Oh,
chemistry.
they're just so good together. I know Canada's going to have a good team at the World Junior. I'm sure Sweden and Finland are going to have good teams. I don't think they're going to have anybody that's going to be as good as Leonard and Perrault. I really don't.
It's amazing.
They're phenomenal, and they're tough kids. They play hard. They play the right way. Didn't go as well for them on Saturday, obviously, but I'll say this. There's so many good coaches in college hockey, Jimmy.
Yep.
Greg Brown has to be right near the top.
Yeah.
He really
Yeah.
does. He's done a phenomenal job
But
with this group.
As you said, didn't go as well for them on Saturday. And a credit to Jerry Keefe for adjusting and getting the Huskies ready for that game. They bounced back, and Pierre, they knock off the number 2 team in the country.
Well, they played with edge, boy. I'll tell you what. If you're a team that has to play Boston College, you're watching that Saturday night tape and you're saying, what did Northeastern do that really stifled BC?
And in your opinion?
Northeastern won a ton of faceoffs. They dominated both nights they did,
Right.
but especially on Saturday night. They were really physical on the star players without taking penalties. And I think the biggest thing is they elevated the puck on a goalie that I think is the best guy I've seen since Marty Brodeur and Jacob Fowler. And that doesn't mean that that's the book on Fowler, but in that game in particular, all the goals that went in, they were elevated.
As you pointed out to me too, and one of the things I know that you've complimented Fowler for is his composure.
Yep.
They got a little bit under his skin there.
Well, the crowd. So this is the one thing I was talking about.
And I don't think a lot of people know. Yeah,
as great as the crowd was at Conti Forum at Chestnut Hill at Boston College Friday, Matthews Arena on St. Bodolph Street in Boston was
the oldest arena in the United States, by the way.
Dude.
Yep.
I'm telling you, those kids were great. The season ticket holders were unbelievable. It was sold out there. It was a whiteout night. It was
tons of scouts. You said,
yeah,
too.
there's both nights. There was just a scouting potpourri. It was crazy.
And Pierre, for people, like I said, it's the oldest arena in the United States. I think maybe even in North America right now.
How about in the world?
In the world. Is it the world? Okay. And it's the last year. So for those out there in the New England area, or even if you're going to be in Boston during the hockey season, highly suggest going down there and taking a game if you can get in, because every game is sold out right now.
It's really hard.
But it's a great old barn. It's tough to see one of those go down again. But, yeah, get there if you can. But amazing action.
You know what? It's really good. We talked about the action on the ice, Jimmy. The bands. So BC's band's very good. And I'm telling you, Northeastern's band's out really good. And so we're over here in Ireland. Merrimack sent their band and BU sent their band. It's part of college hockey.
Yeah.
Because you don't see bands in the NHL.
No.
And
it adds such an atmosphere,
it changes
too.
It. You know, like I sit there, you've been with me at games. I get pretty intense. I'm not screaming and yelling, but I'm intense and I'm usually quiet.
His tongue's usually bleeding because he's biting it so much. But
the one thing that really gets me stirred up, besides great plays or bad plays on the ice, the bands.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what rink you're in. The bands are awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, Pierre, there are bands over here as well. The schools are here. And look, we want to give a big thanks to Cara Group Travel.
Oh my gosh, Sarah Stanton.
I mean,
are you kidding
was
me?
that so cool when we come out of customs and they're waiting right there for us, hug us and everything?
Their whole team's
yeah,
there.
they're all there waiting.
Would you guys like to ride on the buses with us, or do you want? I said, no. I've been through this with hockey teams traveling enough. We're going to take a taxi.
Yeah, we took a cab.
We're going to take the taxi.
We won't give a review on the cab driver, but that's another story. But
you were the ultimate diplomat. You are a proud American diplomat today.
I tried.
I was going to be an ornery Canadian today, but I wasn't. I wasn't. I was a nice boy. I was a proud American.
And the folks also very welcoming over at the Hyatt Centric is what they got. That's where we're staying. Amazing place. But listen, like I said, if you're listening right now, you're in Ireland, come on down here. Even if it's after we're on, come here and enjoy yourself tonight because this place is cool. Lots of live music around here too. Justine is going to take us out and show us the sights later, and we're going to hopefully run into some good live music. But it's just the ambiance.
So here's the one thing I'd say.
In the hospitality, that's what
I've been
strikes
so
me.
fortunate to come here a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, my daughter works here and lives here now. I've golfed here many times. My family's from here, obviously. Part of my family. My grandmothers are from France. But you come to Ireland for the first time, and I remember the first time I came, and you're like, wow, this is civilized. This is really special. These people are amazingly hospitable. They're so kind. Jimmy, think about when we came in here. We came in here 3 hours before.
Yeah, we've been
our
here
show
for 3
started.
hours.
And how nice from the moment we walked in
The
the
second
door
we
there.
got in, and as I've said
unbelievable.
before on here, I'm celiac. The guy made me an amazing, healthy, gluten-free meal. It was delicious.
No,
the food was great. But Pierre, like the one thing I noticed too, it's almost like you feel like you're in another era. Like you're almost
different.
back in history, but you're not. It's got that modern but old-fashioned feel, and it's
The brain power in this country is pretty awesome. The education system in Ireland's off the charts.
Yep.
It's off the charts. And, they call it the Celtic Tiger. And you can see. You're seeing it personally.
Yep.
Most people just read about it.
Yeah.
When you see it, you say, this is real. Now, for those that have lived here or been here, I'm going to take Jimmy down and walk around the River Liffey, and he's going to actually see a lot of what's gone on here in the last 20 to 25 years. And you're going to be like, whoa. There's a church that I go to. We don't need to talk about religion, but I'll just say it. There's a church that I go to here with my daughter, my wife, when she's been with us. And I'll walk you in there, and you'll be like,
I would love it.
Oh, my gosh, this is amazing. It's the only church left on the River Liffey.
Yeah.
it's pretty.
You know what's
amazing.
cool? So I was saying, like Pierre said, the hospitality here at the Harry Lemon's been great, led by their great manager Michael.
Man,
as
Michael.
yeah,
so,
Michael's the best.
So if I was fortunate to like win the lottery, and let's say I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna, for the sake of having fun, I'm gonna open a bar. I don't know, in Dublin.
All right.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
You know who I'd hire?
Michael. Yeah.
Michael, if you need a front man, and
Yep.
a guy that's going to really make your customers feel good, Michael is your man.
Yeah.
He
And
was
so
awesome.
we got talking when Justine got here and you were over talking to your daughter. I was talking to him and he said, so he said you love music. And I said, yeah, I'm a huge Pogues fan. He goes, oh, well, I lived with Shane McGowan in a hotel down the street. And then we start telling stories. And you know what it's like, as we're talking and I'm listening, I've loved the Pogues since I don't know when, Pierre. But a lot of the songs are about Dublin and his time here. And like being here and seeing what he sang about, it's magical to me. It's unreal.
So here's another magical thing about Dublin. If you don't know how to cross the street, you can get hit by a car.
We almost lost Mr. Murphy.
The little leprechaun. almost got run
Luckily, the
over.
dust was behind me.
We're gonna make sure that he's safe.
he's literally saying, as you were saying, watch yourself here because they'll come run and whoop. Felt the breeze and everything, but it was good. But back to hockey, Pierre.
Yeah.
I want to touch a little more on college, and I know I see people lining up here in the questions. We're going to get to your questions, and I know everybody wants to talk about a certain coach that was just hired by the St. Louis Blues. We will get to that in a bit. But Pierre, as this season goes on now, we've seen in consecutive weeks, Boston College this weekend, University of Denver before. There seems to be a bigger parity right now in college hockey. And it really is starting to give a sense of any given night.
It's a great point, and it's very fair, Jimmy. I did, before I got on the plane with Jimmy yesterday, I worked a game at UMass Amherst. Yeah, your alma mater. And with Bridget Prue and Nathan Strauss, I worked a game with them, and they lost UVM. If you watch the first period of that game, just the first period, you're like, there's no way Vermont can win that.
Exactly.
No way Vermont can win this game.
Yep.
There's zero chance they can win this game. But you know what? They took away UMass's speed through the neutral zone. They did a much better job on faceoffs. They got their forecheck going, and they took away the forecheck of UMass. Just by subtle little things they made it
at UMass too.
Yeah, at UMass, which is a different rink, by the way. It's almost an Olympic sheet, and it's a different rink to play on because of that. And so it speaks to your point about the parity. And I've seen Denver play. I've seen Providence play. I've seen BC play. I've seen BU play. I've seen UMaine play. I've seen all the top teams in the country live except for Michigan State and Minnesota this year. I've seen everybody else, all the other top teams play live. And there's the separation points.
It's amazing.
It's pretty
amazing.
amazing.
It's amazing. It just shows you, and you see, as we've spoken about multiple times, and now with the whole NCAA and CHL agreement, just the amount of NHL draft picks that are in college hockey compared to like when I was a kid, and it's amazing.
Well, we just talked about Cole Eiserman's on our flight. He's a freshman. Islanders took him. Phenomenal player.
I was thinking
he's a pure goal scorer. Michael Hayes, Montreal Canadiens. Like, you go look at these guys. Cole Hudson, I think he was a third-round pick of Washington. Go watch him play. He was on our plane last night. Shane LaChance, I think, was a 6th or 7th-round pick of Edmonton. Like, go watch him play.
Yep. I know. And I'm sitting on the
amazing.
plane, too, and we're flying over, and I'm kind of looking around at the BU players, and I'm like, a lot of these kids are going to be in the NHL one day. And I'm thinking, this is a cool trip for them before like life really comes at them and the NHL career starts or the AHL and all that. This is a good experience for those kids to have.
For a bunch of them, though, it's interesting. This is a weird time for hockey players because for the elite guys, whether you're Jimmy Higgins at BC or you're Ryan Leonard at BC or you're Gabe Pearl at BC, the World Junior's calling.
Right. That's a great point.
So this is a really more for Canadian and Americans than the Swedes or the Finns. And some know they're going to be like Leonard's a lead pipe cinch to be on there. Pearl's a lead pipe cinch to be on there. I'll be shocked if Cole Hudson's not on there. I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
His brother Lane could still be playing.
I know. It's amazing.
You start Will Smith, who's playing in San Jose, could be playing in it. Matt Celebrini could be playing.
Yeah.
I mean, So this is the time of the year, and I was spoiled because I did so many World Juniors for so many years, where it's different for star players this time of the year because of
What about the borderline players here right now?
Those guys are feeling it too.
Yeah, that's what I
because they're the ones that are a little nervous.
Yeah.
They're like, "What do I have to do to get?"
And that's
on
crazy. I mean, that
What do I
we're
gotta
about a
do
month
to be
away.
on there?
It's less than a month.
And yeah, less than a month.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So amazing stuff. All right, let's get to some pro stuff because I know there's a lot of things that happened this past weekend, Pierre. It was a crazy weekend. I know there was only one game on Sunday.
Can I ask you one question before you go there?
Yep.
Because I know you're going to talk about Montgomery a lot,
Yep.
and I'm happy for Jimmy. I texted him, and just I'm happy for him and everything else. I feel terrible for Drew Bannister.
I do.
I really do. I
we
really
just
do.
said that to each other. Yeah.
Thankless. That's
It just shows you how cutthroat this business is.
It's barbaric.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on Jimmy Montgomery. He didn't set this up. It's a barbaric business. I don't know what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. I do not. I have no intel. But what's going on there is not right.
No.
It's not right.
No.
And I hate to be over the top on this, but I do have an affinity to the team and the organization. I respect them very much. They treated me and my family very well when I worked for them. What's going on there is not right.
And, Pierre's famous quote on TSN 690 way back, I'll always be a Penguin.
I'll always be a Penguin.
So there you go. And Pierre, I'll tell you something that really struck me was the other day when Crosby gets another milestone.
Yeah.
And place is only 3/4 full.
I'm watching this.
It's not even that.
But I don't blame the. Do you blame the fans?
No, I'm not blaming the fans.
don't.
I'm blaming the hockey ops department right now.
I'm not blaming
Something
the
needs to
fans.
happen right
And
now.
what's really interesting
because
on
they're
all this,
losing those fans.
I'm just going to say this, and I don't defend anybody, and I have no bet on this at all. All these people taking runs at Ronnie Hextall, are you kidding me? Stop it. Stop it. Like, it's the mess that's going on here now.
Again,
it's created at a different level.
I'm saying it's purely objective, Pierre. But I'm going to flat out say this is not Ron Hextall's mess right now. Kyle Dubas needs to answer the bell, in my opinion, right now. And I'm not saying he's a bad GM by any means, but let's call a spade a spade. It has not gone well since he took over there, and he needs to. I don't know what his plan is, but he needs to have one right now because, as we just said, the fans are disappearing, and that city leads Penguins. I mean, it's the Steelers and the Penguins, and that's it for them.
There's no NBA team there.
There's no NBA team. The Pirates haven't really been relevant for God knows how long. I love them. They're fun to watch. It's a great ballpark, but that's huge, and especially in the dog days of the winter. I mean, we're not even there yet, Pierre. Imagine what January and February is going to look like.
They're gonna, at some point, if this continues, and I'm not even going to talk about coaching decisions. They're going to have to make a decision on Sidney Crosby. They can say whatever they want.
I know.
They're going to have to.
The thing is Sidney Crosby is going to have to make that decision, and that's the tough one because we all know, and God bless him.
No, see, this is where
he is, like you just said, I'm always a Penguin. Sidney Crosby is always going to be a Penguin. He's loyal as anything.
He did. He made a decision. He signed an undervalued contract to stay there. So somebody up top is going to have to say, no, we have to make a decision.
Yeah.
We do.
And it will be
you're never going to win
and
here.
it's going to be for the better of you.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So that's what my point is.
Yeah.
It's not about Sid. It's about somebody in the hierarchy who's going to have to say, you know what? We have to make a decision about this guy.
Yep.
And if we don't, we're going to have a problem.
You know what? And this, I'm not saying other teams are at that level yet because this is Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, at least of my generation. But a lot of teams, Pierre.
Come on in
and
watch
join
your
us.
step.
Watch your step there. Pierre, why is it so hard? How you doing, mate? Jimmy Murphy, pleasure to meet.
This is the brains behind the operation of Notre Dame's hockey team. Come
on.
Is
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to get him on here in a second. I want to ask you one quick question, and I think I know the answer, but in the salary cap era, it seems the more we get into it, it's so much more difficult for hockey ops departments or even ownerships to admit mistakes and correct them midstream.
The best
is
ones
it,
do,
is it,
though.
Is it just simply money or what?
So, you know what? I'll use Vancouver as an example.
Okay.
Jimmy Rutherford went in there and he says, you know what? I'm going to change some stuff up. I'm going to bring Patrick Alvina in. You know what? I'm going to change some stuff up. I'm going to bring Rick Tocchet in. You know, I'm going to change some stuff up. I'm going to make a trade for this guy or that guy. He's not afraid to do it.
Correct.
He's proactive
So
all
why
the way.
can't more GMs
Because
look
they're afraid
themselves
of
in the
losing
mirror?
their jobs.
That's it. I knew. See, that's what I was hoping you'd say, because I think
Like
I've
the
always
gentleman
felt
we're
that.
about to have on, we're gonna introduce him properly. He's got boys that play pro hockey, and they're good players, and they're good boys, and they played at Notre Dame, and they're like, it's cool. And I won't touch on what their franchises are doing,
Okay.
out of respect.
Yep.
But some are better than others.
Mhm.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, I just wish. I think it shows. First of all, it shows guts to do it and say, you know what, we got to start over, or we got to reshape.
You know who
things
did
right
it
now,
better than
midstream.
anybody else? Jeff Gorton.
Yes.
Jeff Gorton.
I was
in
just
New
going to
York
go there, and we
wrote
don't
a
script
letter,
this. We don't script this.
Wrote a letter, and he got the blessing of Glenn Sather to do it. And, I'm pretty friendly with Glenn, and I'm not sure Glenn was in love in doing that.
And by the way, I know people are frustrated right now, but we're going to stand by it. I still think he's doing a good job up in Montreal right now.
Gordon?
Yep.
Montreal's a different work. This man coached Jake Evans. Jake Evans is one of the steals of the draft from his draft year.
Really? That's right.
Just telling you.
Yeah.
See, I don't
And
have
by the
any-
way-
do you like my notes?
And by the way, he's a free agent coming up.
He is.
It's
I
looking
think-
pretty
I
good
think
for him.
It is. It is. But the other part of it is Jeff did a really good job.
Yep.
And it's like Tommy Fitz.
Mhm.
Tommy didn't empty an empty basket in New Jersey because Ray Sherrill built it up, but Tommy's built on it
He's
now.
sprinkled around.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So he's not been afraid. He knew last year they were no good.
Yep.
So he knew
And
when they
we've said
lost
it a million
when
times.
they lost Dougie Hamilton. He knew. He knew.
It was very strategic, the type of signings he made.
Jonathan
Right?
Kovacevic.
Yeah.
Like most
Stefan
people in the
Nace.
league. Yeah, Stefan. They're like, who?
Yep.
They go out and Brett
And look at how
Pesci,
they're fitting in.
and
Yeah.
you're Brandon Dillon. You bring
Jake
these guys,
Allen.
Jake Allen. You bring
Yep.
out. So you're like, oh shoot, now I get it. Now I understand.
Yeah. And he was patient too.
Yeah. So
I mean-
so just to your point, there are guys that are not afraid to be proactive. I think in Tommy's case, if he wasn't,
Yeah.
he might be looking for work after
Right,
this year.
right.
If he wasn't,
But I wonder, I'm with you, Pierre. I mean, there's going to have to come a point where they really have that discussion in Pittsburgh. There really is.
yeah, no, it breaks my heart. Like, I mean, again, I'm a Penguin. It's hard to watch.
Yeah. Do we want to bring our friend on here? I don't
Coach
know how we're
Schlager's
going to do
gotta
this.
come on. You know what, Jimmy? I'm going to check out. All I'm going to say is I'm going to give an endorsement. I've known Coach Schlager a long time. He's an amazing man. His boys, one's in Buffalo, one's in Chicago system. It's an amazing hockey family from South Bend, Indiana. And I'm going to let you do
You
the
from
interview.
some? Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Come on in. Come on in.
Come on in, Coach.
Welcome to the nest here.
Coach.
No, come on. We won't be able to see it, but you can talk. Yeah, you can talk. We're good. So you're here. How's it feel?
Good. We just rolled in. So,
Oh, it's great.
So yeah, we flew out of Chicago last night, and the boys are off walking around
Nonstop or what?
nonstop from Chicago.
Oh wow, I didn't know they did it. Nice.
Yep.
Aer Lingus?
Yep.
Oh wow, I
Yep.
did not know that.
So
Wow.
yeah, great
That's pretty
flight.
good.
Everyone here has been amazing. Hotel, everyone's friendly.
Yeah.
This has been so.
And it's your first time in
first
Ireland?
time.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'm James Patrick Murphy.
How about
It's a
that?
bucket list trip here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's great. So talk to us about Notre Dame right now. How the boys feeling?
You know what? We have to right the ship a little bit. Things haven't gone as smoothly as we'd like. The league is really tough. The Big Ten, like
Mhm.
we just came through 6 games of all top 4 teams. So we were at Michigan State, Minnesota at home.
Yeah.
So didn't get the results we wanted, but I think we're getting healthy.
Mhm.
So that'll help. And actually talked to Jerry Keefe last night at the
Oh, yeah.
airport because
He's a happy man.
he had a great Saturday night for sure. But I remembered when we were back in Hockey East that they came to this tournament. They had struggled coming out of this. Went, I think he said 22-2, something like that after this event.
You read my mind. That was going to be my next question
Yeah.
because we've asked all the other coaches involved with the tournament, how much of a bonding experience this can be for the boys and just getting to be around the guys and doing stuff you don't necessarily get to do at home
Yeah.
when you're in the grind.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's what you guys are hoping to do here.
That's what we are hoping to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we'll go 22-2 like Northeastern did after that, but Jerry had some good insights, and that's what he talked about. He talked about sticking with the process, and they actually didn't even win the first game here. They lost the first game, but played really well.
Okay.
I said, hey, keep doing what you're doing, and the results,
And
will
you're
follow.
getting away from the regular grind of being at home, classes, media, everything. You're just here and you're together. Yeah, it's a great experience, and that's what every coach that we've spoken to has said that's experienced this. So right now, who are some of the players we got to watch for the people that aren't familiar with Notre Dame?
Yeah, I would say up front, I would watch Danny Nelson.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on the team last year, so he'll be a second-year World Junior player. Won a gold medal with under 18s. Paul Fish. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Third-round
Nice.
Islander draft
All right.
pick. Cole Knuble, Mike Knuble's son.
Yes.
Yep. He's
Mike
also
Knuble's a great guy.
He's yeah. So
I got when I first started covering the Bruins many moons ago. Canoobs was on the Bruins.
Yeah.
It was I think like 01, 02 or
Yeah.
02, 03. He was instantly loved in that dressing room. Just a fun-loving guy, a leader. I wonder if the kid's going to be the same way.
you
can see that a little?
Yeah, Cole's real popular with his teammates, and you're right, Mike's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like he is a really good guy, and he's over here. He and
he's here.
Megan are
Great.
here, and they're off with the parents doing the Guinness tour right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so so
We got to get over there soon, Pierre. Even though I can't drink the Guinness right now, but I got to see it. And the Jameson Distillery, I'm looking forward to.
yeah,
I'm also looking forward to going up to the arena in Belfast.
I hear it's wonderful.
Yeah, and they get a great crowds. They pack the joint all the time.
Yeah.
From what I'm told, I mean, hockey is big up there.
Yeah.
It's become a part of the fabric of the city. And I'm sure you've heard it's the one sport where there's no religious differences or political differences. They just unite and they cheer as one, which is pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. Coach, we appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so
we're
much.
Glad to be here for sure.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
We'll
Yeah,
stick around. We'll come down. We'll have a couple pints. All right.
Sounds awesome.
All right.
Yeah, you bet. Good
Oh,
to
wait.
see you.
What? Before you go, I got one joke for you.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Who is there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana. Na, 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 na.
Bye. Jimmy's singing career's over. Coach, I'm going to come down and see you. That's my daughter over there, Justine. Yeah.
It's an old Notre Dame joke.
Oh, that's
You gotta love it. Yeah, you gotta love that. Come on. You know I'm a Notre Dame football fan.
So Coach Slager's done it. He's been there forever.
And he's from South Bend.
Yeah, his boys
Wow.
are tremendous players. One's in Chicago's organization. The other one's in Rochester right now. Started in Toronto. So I've known him a long time. I love all the trips and I did a lot of games at Dach Emmerich and I used to do a lot of games at Notre Dame back in the day.
I remember back in the first
Loved it.
lockout, you guys
We
did a ton of games.
Yeah,
down
we
there,
did.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you what, we got treated so well by Coach Slag and Coach Jackson, the whole Notre Dame organization blew me away. You know, my wife probably watching this in Boston right now. I remember when Chris Collinsworth's son, Austin Collinsworth, was a captain at Notre Dame football. And I worked with Chris. And he invited Melanie and I on the field for Parents' Day, Senior Day. And we were standing at the 50-yard line at Notre Dame, Melanie and I, with Chris Collinsworth and his wife when their son Austin came out on the field.
That's amazing.
I'm telling you, dude, like I've coached in Stanley Cup finals. I've done a lot of different
But there's
cool
some
stuff.
things that can still give you chills.
That
and
one
like that,
gives
right?
you chills. Like you got goosebumps when you do that one. Notre Dame,
A good friend of mine, Brendan
Pretty amazing.
Quinn, he goes out. He's been so he lives in Holyoke, Mass. He's been to every home game this year in Notre Dame. That's how big a fan he is. He says, Jimmy, you got to get out there. He said,
touchdown
it's just,
Jesus. When you're standing on the field, I'm just telling
and you
you,
see it.
you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It really is. And then the only thing I'll tell you, Jimmy, you got to go to the Morrison. The Morrison's right on campus. It's a restaurant, hotel, bar, but it's really a historical place. It's really
So, Pierre, do a
special.
lot of the kids there, like, is the hockey culture growing there? Or do they have to go up to like Chicago to play more? Or how's
Well, Chicago Mission's such a good team. A lot of the kids do leave
That's what I
there to
figured.
go there. The Mission have built an amazing program. They really have in Chicago. And a lot of kids going to Detroit too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that
Little
far
Caesars.
to Detroit. Little Caesars, Honey Baked,
Yeah.
Maine, Honda, Mission Honda. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty close there.
So there are a lot of programs in the Midwest. Hockey's booming in the Midwest. It really is.
Let's
How about that, Coach Slager? Just shows up out of the blue.
It took me by
You're
surprise. I'm like,
who is this guy? I'm like, don't worry, I know.
I apologize.
I know.
I apologize.
No, it's
I was-
okay. And they're here.
Yeah,
downstairs.
that's pretty cool.
And I to be honest, I did not get in touch with them.
No. You had no idea.
I got in touch with 2 coaches this afternoon.
Yep.
Well, this morning back in the United States and Canada. I got in touch with 2, and they both got back to me. They're on tours.
Yeah.
Like with
As
their
we were
teams,
saying,
as
yep.
we were saying. So I get that. These guys just got off a plane,
I know.
and they must
That's
have
brilliant.
heard we were here.
Yep.
They just showed up, and so when
Saw
we're
that
done,
tweet probably. Yeah.
we're gonna go down.
That's
But
awesome.
it's amazing. And,
Yep.
you know, that just speaks to the class of Coach Slaggert and the Notre Dame hockey people.
Well, we need to stick in the Midwest because everybody's asking, what is
About
our
Monty?
take on Monty? I mean, as you said, we're very happy for him. But
I'm thrilled for him.
But what do you think of 5-year deal there?
That's
a team in a
That's
rebuild.
good. Yeah, but
To me, that says he's committed to it, and they're committed to him.
They have first.
And I think that's what he was looking
There's
for.
a
Pierre.
yeah, especially after the. So I'll just tell you, having been down that road myself,
Yes.
when you get treated the way he's been treated the last little while in
Mhm.
Boston, you make sure that you're going into a situation where you actually know the people really well,
Mhm.
and they're going
Which
to
he
treat
does.
you. Yes, he does.
Yep.
He knows Doug Armstrong really well. He knows ownership in St. Louis really well. He knows players in St. Louis really well because he was an assistant coach there. So he's going into a home run situation for him
Mhm.
because he knows it's a. I don't want to say rebuild, retool.
Mhm.
I think it's more of a rebuild,
Yeah.
but we'll say retool.
Yep.
He knows that. He develops players. He knows
Yeah.
how to develop players, which is good. And he'll hire Claude Julien's there. They'll be comfortable together, and I think he'll hire his own staff too.
By the way, coincidence there. 2 former Bruins coaches
Yeah,
and Jack Adams Award winners.
yeah.
And the Bruins have now fired 3 consecutive Jack Adams Award winners.
Cassidy, Julian, and
Pierre, I'm just going to leave it at this. At what point does the script flip and they start to look above the coaching?
can't comment. I don't know
Yeah.
because I will say this.
Okay.
In a very knowledgeable way. You know me. Like I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very strong ownership group, and they don't really share their ideology with anybody but within their group.
And that's their prerogative, and that's fine.
There's some people out there that are going to make stuff up and say, yeah, I know exactly. No, they don't.
Nope.
I'm
Nope.
telling you they don't because they don't know the Jacobs family.
Yeah.
You know, I've had the honor of meeting Mr. Jacobs. I've had the honor of meeting Charlie, his son, but never once have they ever discussed any hockey stuff with
Yep.
me. Never. So I don't know. And anybody that says they do know, they're making it up.
So here's the thing, though, right? Like, I think people, the fans, the beginning of the season, the way things were going, they were getting frustrated with Monty a bit with the way he was shuffling the line so much. But, what is he supposed to do? He's trying to jumpstart a team. But, Pierre, hear me out now. And I show you this stuff on social. It has shifted. I mean, they need to figure this out soon. It has to go up from here, whether that's, creating a new vision of where they want to go. Like we were just saying, where some other teams need to do that. I don't know, but they're going to start losing fans.
So here's my question for you. These are questions.
Okay.
I think I
exactly.
have an opinion,
and I'm not saying this is fact.
for
This
the
is my
fans who
opinion.
listen. Yeah. So where do you think of Merkelhoff as a prospect? These are just, you have to think about this. You just don't say yes.
Okay. So we're
no.
going to do,
I'm just
we're
going to
do on 1 to 5.
I'm just going to say, no, just say, is he a prospect or not? Say yes or no. Merkelhoff, prospect, yes or no?
No.
Riley Duran, prospect, yes or no?
No.
John Farinacci, prospect, yes or no?
No.
Fabian Lysell, prospect,
No.
yes or no? So I've just given you, off the top of my head, without any rehearsal, 4 names.
Mm-hmm. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know how to, like, I don't want to be offensive, but they need to reevaluate scouting and the vision, in my opinion, right now. What are we looking for? What kind of player are we trying to get to fit into this lineup right now that will eventually be able to get into the NHL lineup? Because every time they bring these guys up, they have good games, they have bad games, and they just sort of ride the roller coaster, but they can't stay. And I don't know what you do from there. You worked in hockey management. I don't know how you change that.
My biggest thing this offseason, I don't think they did well in free agency. I said it at the time. I know it's fashionable to do it now.
Yeah.
I said
no, you said it in
at
August.
the start and
Or July, actually, yeah.
I like both those men that are playing there, but
Right.
I didn't think they were going to overcome the loss of Krejci or the loss of Chara or the loss of Bergeron. I didn't think that those players were anywhere close to that, and I told you that on
Yep.
the air. So I think the pro scouting side, we're talking about prospects before, but pro scouting matter. Here's the difference. You make a difference with an amateur player, all it costs is a draft pick.
Right.
You make a difference with a pro player, costs you cap room, it costs you a ton of money, and the biggest thing it costs is years of development.
Exactly. And Pierre, here's the thing. You know, we're going back to what we were saying about Pittsburgh and different organizations that maybe have to look in the mirror and say, is it time to – and you're right. I don't like using the word rebuild. I'm going to call it reset. Just reset,
sure.
reevaluate. I think maybe the Bruins organization is underestimating their fan base in the sense that I think they would be patient. I think you see right now, one of the greatest, if not the greatest hockey markets in the world, in Montreal, has been patient. They bought into the rebuild there.
Some of them have.
Some of them have. It's wearing thin right now. I get it. But
Some.
originally, for 2 years, they were good. And I didn't think that would last 2 years. I thought it would be
No,
like a
I'm
half a
with you.
season.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Don't underestimate true hockey fans. And I think that in Boston, they'll accept it. Look, the whole sports scene right now is kind of at that crossroads, right? You got the Patriots that's starting in their rebuild. The Red Sox are kind of in and out of it. I think Boston fans have been treated to enough championships in the last 20 years.
Yeah, no,
they
that's
could take
fair.
a few years and say, all right, guys, reset. We'll be waiting for you.
No, that's fair. I think that's fair, actually. But the only person that can answer, well, there are two people, actually, Donnie, Sweeney, and Cam.
Yep.
You know, and that to do that, I'll just tell you my experience because I've started a rebuild in two different cities, actually twice in one city and once in another city. And if the ownership's
I
not
was just
on
going to
board,
say that. Yep.
the ownership, you have no chance. And the ownership always starts by being on board.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny. It's fickle. Yeah, because you
start to see the seats empty. And
this is really important because nobody talks about it. Playoff dates matter the most.
oh, yes.
And when you got 32 teams and only 16 make the playoffs, those other 16 teams are in a mad dash to make cash.
And we
And it's
see
not that easy to do.
And as we've mentioned many times, Pierre, on this podcast this season, when we get to March and April, it's going to just be chaos of the teams trying to make those final one or two spots in the playoffs. So there's so much more competition right now. You know?
That's all part of it, and it's very fair to say that. My thing is there's another thing, too. It's called a cash call. And in the spring, when your team doesn't make the playoffs and you're part of an ownership group, usually there's a cash call.
Okay.
And I know a team last year that made the playoffs, and I talked to their GM. I was humbled. I was like, congratulations on a great year, and I'm really happy for you, and glad you made the playoffs. And he said to me, Pierre, what are you talking about? I said, well, you made the playoffs, and I didn't think you were going to be able to do it. He says, we're going to lose a whack of money, and my owner's going to be really mad at me. He says, if we don't get to the second round of the playoffs, we can't make money.
Yep.
Now, that's from a GM in the league.
So it goes back to the way we started this podcast, Pierre.
100%.
That's why it's not. And, I think sometimes I'm guilty of it. We are critical of the GMs and everything, but it's not just about them. It's not just about the hockey ops department. It's about the people above them. It's about a whole
there's
everything
a lot
that
of
goes
moving
around.
parts in
Exactly.
this.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking
There's a lot of fence mending that has to go on in an organization every day.
Yeah.
Some guy might be mad at one guy and another guy might be mad at another guy, but you got to mend the fences so that everybody's singing from the same song. But it's not that easy to do.
No.
There are pressures that are brought to bear from ownership, pressure that are brought to bear from general managers, coaches, team doctors getting pressure to get a player back in the ice. And the doctor's like, I'm not signing off on that because I'm not going to ruin the guy's career.
Right.
It creates mayhem.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. The one thing I'll say is hockey's the most amazing game in the world. We're in Ireland celebrating hockey, and we're in an amazing place, in the Harry Lemon, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity.
College coaches just popping in.
College coaches showing up. But, we'll talk about Monty here just because he was a college player at University of Maine, and I tried to recruit him, and he was captain of a national championship team at Maine. He did amazing stuff. I couldn't be happier for him because you know what, Jimmy? I didn't like the way it went down in Boston.
I didn't either.
I just didn't like it. It left a real bad taste in my mouth. And I'm friendly with the people that made the decision.
Yeah.
I'm friendly.
Look,
I have a ton of respect and friendly with Donnie, and
I respect them both.
I've known Cam a long time.
They've been great to me as a reporter for the last 20 years, but I'm paid to tell you my opinion right now, and so that's my opinion. I just think there needs to be some self-evaluation right now with the Bruins.
I just think internally it comes down to building your brand. How do you want for years? They had a decade.
They had it.
They had a decade of Chera,
Trademark.
Krejci, Bergeron. They had Marchand. They had a decade of unbelievable Tuukka Rask, Timmy Thomas. Like you go look.
Yeah.
They had a decade of unbelievable success.
And all those guys, what do they have in common? Work ethic
and character,
dedication, and character.
Character. I don't know anymore.
But this is the way it's life. I mean, sooner or later, these things have to. It's a cycle, right? And you had to know, as you've said many times, when Bergeron and Krejci left. I think the last 2 years were almost fool's gold a bit. Pierre.
Well, the coach put a lot of mascara on that, and the other thing too,
and that's why I couldn't understand.
So the coach covered up a lot,
right?
And the other part was, and I don't know how they lost their way on this, and this is a great unasked question. When they had the tandem, okay, when they had Swayman there, and they had Olmark there, together, they were better than one being in Boston and one being in Ottawa. Okay,
united we stand, divided we fall.
Now this is what's happened.
Both of them,
and you know what I think of Swayman. Like
literally identical save percentage.
I know,
Pierre.
and I'm a huge fan of Swayman. Huge fan, as a person, as a player,
and he'll come back.
What did we say on the eye test in July and in August and in September? If he misses camp and this continues to be a problem, it's going to be a problem,
right? And
it is a freaking problem.
It is.
It's a big problem.
It is. And hey, credit to Corpusalo and credit to Bob Essenza for some of the work he's doing, because Bobby's it could be worse.
Bobby's done some unbelievable work. Maybe one of the most unheralded goalie coaches in the league over the last 25 years.
Yep.
Because he doesn't go blow his horn to the media. And there are a lot of really good goalie coaches out there.
Yeah.
There are. Some are elevated beyond.
I don't know how well you know him too. If you're just talking when the mics are off and off, he is awesome to talk to.
Well, he was a really good player at Michigan State. He was a good goalie in the NHL for a long time. I'm a big fan, but he doesn't carry himself for pomp and circumstance.
Nope.
He carries himself to go win games and help goalies get better.
He loves the job. He loves the job and does a great job. All right, listen, Pierre, it's time for Q&A live from Dublin.
How are we doing on the Q&A?
You know that? Oh, we got a lot of questions lined up. But before we do that, we need to tell you about our wonderful sponsor back home, Betway. Let's bring it up right there. The leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. If you're watching right now, go to that QR code right there and sign up. Or you can go to the website. And remember, always 18 plus and bet responsibly. Pierre, speaking of Jim Montgomery, you always see those first game bumps for a team when they get a new head coach. And I think it's a good mix right now for Jim Montgomery and the St. Louis Blues as they come into their first game under their new bench spots, because they're playing a New York Rangers team, Pierre, that in my opinion has been a little disjointed as of late. They are a great team. Don't get me wrong. And they'll recover and they'll be there at the top later. But right now they might be getting them right at the right spot, back from a long road trip. Give me the St. Louis Blues on a heavy underdog money line plus 195 as Murph's pick of the day.
The Rangers want to get away from all that Alberta beef. They had a tough trip in Alberta. It wasn't very friendly to them.
Yeah.
First came back from a road trip's tough, no question.
Yeah.
They had some success on the trip too, though. Tough for Jimmy, though. Got hired yesterday in the morning.
And you're off to MSG.
So he hadn't even run a practice yet. So they're playing on emotion, and they haven't been playing very well.
So what? It's 9:44 back there. You think he does a full out game day skate?
They'll do
that. We resemble more of a practice.
It'll be a practice.
Yep.
That's what you should.
That's what I would do.
That's what I would do. I think he will. But my biggest thing was they hired a really good man. They hired a really good coach. He's totally invested in the community. I think that's a big part of it too, and he'll do well there. But again, the roster is what the roster is right now.
It is.
It's not an elite roster. We said it before the year started. We didn't think they were a playoff team.
Nope.
And if they make it, shows how great a coach he is. But I don't really think they'll make it.
All right, let's get to our Q&A here live from Dublin, Pierre. I just like the sound of that. What do we got here? Mike, Pierre, and Jimmy, did you expect Michael Hayes to start his career this well?
Yes.
Do you see him making Team Canada?
Yes. We talked about the day of the draft. It was a great pick.
And a quality kid, too, from by all accounts. Yeah. All right, next question. Pierre and Jimmy, why is it so difficult to access stats and other data on the Laval Rocket?
It's not.
No, go to the site.
Go to AHL.com. You want to get Laval, just go to Laval. I look at it every day.
Yeah.
No, it's not hard to get
it's
stats
good.
at all. It works well.
I don't know when the last time he was there, because I do remember a year or two ago, it was a little tough to navigate, but I've been there a lot this year.
It's not.
Great.
Go
check it out.
Site. No, they've done a good job with that site.
And by the way, as Pierre said many times, the AHL is a great league. I see fans always like, I can't believe they're sending the guy down there. What are they doing? It helps. It's a great developmental league, and it's hard. It's a physical league.
Hard,
it's tough.
Hey, you played 3 games in 4.5 days or 3.5 days, which is some of the things they have to do there.
It's against the same team sometimes.
You're busing, you're not flying on private planes. It's all, I did it. It's a hard life.
They're not always leaving the light on at the Motel 6.
Yeah,
All right, next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy, you asked me to wait to ask about this season until Thanksgiving. Well, we're here.
Oh, he's Calgary.
Are we more offensive league this year? Oh, no, he's asking about the whole league. Are we more offensive league this year, Pierre, you think?
Some nights. It depends on the night.
Yeah, and I think it's going to depend as the season goes on.
Yeah, injuries and stuff. Like, I'm blown away. I'll use Toronto as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Matthews hasn't played in 8 games. Their record is 7-1. It's their best player by a mile. Like, come on. Last year he had almost 70 goals.
And guess what?
Goals.
They're not playing offensive hockey either. They're playing grind it down.
So that they're getting ready. We're at game 20 or 21 for them now. They're getting ready for the playoffs.
Yep.
Which is a Bowmanism. You coach your team in the regular season to get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. I'll tell you
that's what they're doing.
I actually think, Pierre, now that you say that, not to go back and keep talking about the Bruins, but when you saw those signings and the size they brought in from some of those guys that they said, I think they were kind of thinking they could do that, but it just hasn't.
Not yet. It hasn't. We'll see.
All right. Next question. Ron LaRoque, Jimmy and Pierre, are we seeing the dip on Slav that Kent Hughes said we would see?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think that's fair. Sometimes I'm going to be interested to see with him because I'm not sure how healthy he is.
Mm-hmm.
There's still injury stuff with him. See where he's at game 40. But I'm expecting him to start to surge. The guy that's disappointed me the most is Kirby Dach. I'm glad that you said it before.
He called himself out.
He called himself out. But basically, he called himself out with the stuff I've been saying about him for a long time.
Pierre, it was almost verbatim what you said.
So I like Kirby a lot as a person. I really liked him as a player when Chicago took him 3rd overall. I did. I remember calling Scotty Bowman. The draft was in Vancouver. And I called Scotty. I was working the draft, and I said, that was a good pick. He says, yeah, we like him. We think he's good. And then, he got all those injuries hurt him.
Just saw some more Notre Dame jerseys rolling in here.
No, and I hate to rub it in. This is an amazing experience. I've been really blessed to have a lot of special. Jimmy, great job.
Yeah,
really good.
Loving this. Pierre, quickly though, not just on Slav, just a player in general like that, or Dach, excuse me. When a player comes back from injury, you know how hard it can be to kind of find your game. Maybe this hesitancy to do things that you used to do. I know teams have team psychologists. How important is it for players to utilize that?
Yeah, no,
does it help?
I think it does, actually. I remember working for Richard Gordon in Hartford, and he was a really intelligent. He still is a very, very intelligent man. And Mr. Gordon called me in his office once, and he said, I got a guy that I know really well, and he's a sports psychologist, and he does a lot with tennis players and golfers. And I would like to offer his services to our players. So I was listening to him because I really respect Mr. Gordon a lot. So I went and met with the team after practice one day, and I said, look, we have access to this doctor, and I'm not going to say his name on our show, but he's very gifted. I've done some research on him, and if you guys would like, it doesn't cost you anything. You're more than welcome to utilize his services. I had players coming up to me. I'm not kidding you. Now, this is 1994.
So this is because for the longest time until maybe in the last decade here, mental health was kind of a taboo thing. And
I had players.
Big tough players aren't going to want to admit they want to use that.
They were coming up to me saying, "I'm not going to see a witch doctor." That
See?
was their term,
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Whoa, we got a ways to go here."
And now look at it.
Now it's totally flipped, and
Yep.
so guys woke up, and I think the education system probably helped players
Yeah.
understand that, and maybe they had traumatic moments in their life where they
Mhm.
needed it. But I remember back then, like it was machismo plus. Like, no
Yeah.
way, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And I was probably as guilty as the next guy.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to
I
say
forget
that.
there was a goalie in the last couple of years. It'll come to me and I'll think of it. I'll mention it tomorrow. But there was a goalie who really took advantage of that and turned his career around.
Well, that's
I
good.
can't forget who it was. We'll get
Yeah.
back to it. All right, next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre. The Flames are known for. Here's his Flame question, Randy. The Flames are known for not rushing the prospects. Do you see a trend that teams are not rushing the prospects?
Well, no, they're not. I don't think they're going to rush prospects because Craig Conroy was a prospect.
Mhm.
He knows.
Yep.
Their general manager. He knows what it's like.
And the coach is on board too.
If they
Did a
throw
great-
you into the deep end and you can't swim without a life jacket, you're not ready to play.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. And so Craig knows that. He's lived through that. I respect Detroit for years, and they're still doing it. They're still doing
It's
it in
amazing.
Detroit. So
They were the best.
they were the best at doing it. Montreal was the very best
Yep.
at it, but for years and years. So no, I have a problem with that. Take your time.
Except for a certain Harvard player that came up too early. Next, you know who I'm talking about?
I do.
Next question. Mitch Balin. What's up, Mitch? Did Montreal miss out on not going after Mr. Montgomery?
No, I don't think.
I don't
so.
think they really had a chance,
I
Mitch,
don't
to be
think
honest.
So. I don't think so. And it's a different situation.
Yeah. Yep.
He's not going to be an assistant coach anywhere. Once
No.
you've been a head coach in the league
And
and you're
as Pierre's reiterated, the connection to that community
Yeah,
in
it's
St. Louis and the
tied
team.
in,
So,
I don't think Montreal missed. I mean, would Jimmy have helped their organization? Yeah.
yeah.
There are a lot of guys that could help their organization, but they're happy with where their organization is right now.
All right. Next question. Randy Workman again. Do you think Uyghur should get Team Canada consideration?
I always
At the
like
Four
I always
Nations.
like McKenzie a lot. It's just tough. Canada's defense
deep.
is so good.
Thank
But
God. 'Cause
he
the goalies
can.
aren't.
The one thing about McKenzie is he can play the right or the left side.
Yeah.
And he plays with serious intestinal fortitude. I think he should be considered. I don't know if he's a lead pipe cinch to make it.
Right. It's crazy. That's only a few weeks away.
Though. I know.
Couple. No.
December
Wait.
December 6th, they have to put the rosters in.
That's jeez. How is
December
it
6th.
December already?
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Oh, that's all we got, according to producer Shane back in Montreal. And by the way, there's one more. Postnet on 130. Why is Slav not moving his feet in the D end?
This is a great question.
It's a
It's what
great
I've been
question.
talking
Thank you.
about a lot, and it's frustrating to watch.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sure the Canadians coaches are.
Oh,
working
yeah.
it, but like there's ways to remedy that. But I don't see their practices, so I don't know. But that's one of the things that's hurting him a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that looks like it was all we got. And by the way, Pierre, I don't want to be remiss and not mention a certain fellow that called you last night when we were at the airport, sitting at Davio's at Logan Airport.
William Scott Bowman
Yes,
called. Yeah,
always a pleasure to hear from
he was
the coach.
he was very excited about some of the college results from the weekend.
Yep.
He's bringing
He's
up
asking you scouting reports. It was
scouting
great
reports on different
on Ryan
players.
Leonard.
He never, you know what? I can tell you right now, he'll know more about any player. And if you give him an opinion that he doesn't agree with,
He's gonna let you know.
he's gonna let you
Yeah,
know.
that's what I love about him.
You know?
Why do you think I feel so honored that he respects my opinion? I'm like, whoa.
We're sitting there and just getting there. Jimmy and I are having a bite to eat before he got on the plane, and I showed him the phone. He's like, "Oh boy." I was trying to keep my voice down.
It was great. It was good to hear from a coach. If you're watching, we miss you. Listen, want to thank Shane back in Montreal. Great job, and Anello and the whole crew at Sick Media doing a nice test run with us. Gave us some great equipment here to make this happen. And of course, we want to thank Cara Group Travel, Pierre, for getting us here. I mean, the accommodations, the flight, everything has been wonderful so far, and I'm sure the rest is going to get even better. Thank the wonderful folks, Michael and his staff here at the Harry Lemon
I'll
in
come
Dublin.
back here every
We're
single
coming
time-
back here.
Every time I come to Dublin, I will come to the Harry Lemon. There's
Yep.
no question. Just the hospitality.
And
look how nice.
I don't think he'll mind us saying we were having a good conversation with
Yeah.
him, and he said, "Look, I've been wanting to do podcasts up here." And where he set us up, you can't really see it right now, but it's just a perfect spot
Oh my
for that,
gosh, it's
right?
amazing.
It's intimate. It's nice. People can come in and say hello, but then they can go over and watch from afar and have their pints. But thank you to Michael. Thanks for the hospitality here. Pierre, thanks to the great colleges that are here. And,
really excited. Wow.
Coach that just came
Coach
in.
Slaggert was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited. I'm going to hit on some of the other guys. I
I'm
wonder if
loving
they're
this.
not sleeping now, though.
Oh, hey, by the way,
I'm just wondering. I wouldn't let Jimmy sleep today.
Pierre,
by the way.
I'm doing it. I'm
I
following
know,
the Pierre McGuire recipe for
And it
success
worked.
and
It's
acclimating.
worked
It
so
will.
far.
It will.
How'd you like our walk over?
I
from
loved it.
all
What
day?
did I say to you? This air is, by the way, beautiful fall day,
It's
or
a
not
great
fall.
fall.
We're almost in winter, but it was like
It's a good day.
it was nice, just walking around and like all the things you see on postcards and films. To be walking through it now in the streets of Dublin is
So I'm going
is
to take
something.
Jimmy on a little tour. For those that know, we're going to go by Trinity College.
Yep.
We're going to go
Temple
down to
Bar.
We're going to go to Temple Bar, not because I need to go. You need to go just to see it. And the music. We're going to go to the River Liffey. We're going to go to Grafton Street. And I've got one place else I want to bring you, but I'm not going to document it on a podcast.
All right, that's fine. And I want to give a shout out to my mom and my family back home. Won't be with them on Thanksgiving, so I hope they have a great Thanksgiving this week. And to everyone, our viewers and listeners, thanks for tuning in. We will be live from the Heart Bar in Belfast tomorrow,
Before
Wednesday,
you get
and
off,
Thursday.
I want to tell
Oh.
Melanie McGuire, your daughter's doing great.
Oh, yeah. She killed it today. Thanks, Justine. All right, from the Hairy Lemon in Dublin, Ireland, he's Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. We'll talk to you from Belfast tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.